So we're going to open up with a few icebreaker questions. If you could collaborate with one artist, living or dead, who would you choose?
Collaborate with one artist, alive or dead. Maybe. Which good one? Maybe Cliff Burton.
Cliff Burton. Good choice.
Just because he was always about like the attitude of heavy metal, and I feel like I would collaborate well with him.
It's good. Good. How long have you been playing guitar?
7 years. 7 years, I think.
Who influenced you to play guitar?
Sinister Gates from Avenged. He was always looking like the coolest dude in the room. So I was like, hey, I want to be like that guy. So he was cool, so.
What is it you like about Sinister Gates playing?
He was always just really laid back in his playing. He never really, like, and especially in the early days, it was just more about the feel and just him. He was like, hey, I'm just here to look cool and be a badass on guitar, and so I just wanted to look cool and be a badass on guitar.
Who is it you'd most compare your style of playing to?
I would probably say Kurt. Yeah, probably. Yeah, it's just because Kurt, like he was always particularly flashy in his playing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he stayed in the box with what he was playing, and I feel like I tend to do that a lot. So
if somebody was to ask you during a band, what track would you send them?
Probably a dish best served cold. So I feel like it, just the intensity shows really what kind of music we like, and the attitude of what we like to do. So probably that one.
If you were on tour and one of your pedals broke, which one could you live without?
Probably my volume pedal.
Volume pedal.
That one. I use that one mainly just for swells and for like cutting the signal really quick. So probably that one.
Yeah. So when was it you first started to feel like a rock star?
The first time that I felt like a rock star was when we went to Summerfest in 2016, playing on the super duper big stages for the first time. That was probably the very first time I ever felt like a rock star. We weren't rock stars, but I still felt like a rock star. You know, it's like when you get on those big stages, it's just like, it goes from, playing in small clubs and bars into this super duper massive size stadium. Not stadium, but just super duper big stage.
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty cool. Just having all that room.
If someone asked you in a coffee shop, what is metal, what CD would you bring out of your backpack?
I would give them either Master of Puppets or Rust in Peace. Because I feel like those two albums are the pinnacle of what heavy metal is. Just every song front to back encapsulates everything that heavy metal should be. Just really aggressive, fast, just fucking balls to the wall, just heavy ass music.
What is the most angry CD that you own?
Most angry CD? Nightmare by Avenged, maybe Shout at the Devil, Kill 'Em All, Killing Is My Business, just anything like that. Just anything with a lot of just really, like, you can just hear, like, everybody just pouring their anger into this music, and just, stuff like that, I would say.
If you were to fill in for one guitarist, who do you feel most comfortable filling in for?
Mick Mars. Mick Mars, because all the riffs are pretty simple, and you don't really got to do much. It's just something that you pick up in like a few days. Like if Krug just came to me and said, "Hey, we need you to fill in for Mick. You have 3 days to learn all these songs." I feel like it'd be pretty easy stuff. Mm-hmm. Just go and just learn.
So what would you say your guilty pleasures are as a guitarist?
Guilty pleasures, like music wise.
Music wise,
Or
yes.
music wise, I really enjoy Lady Gaga's up there. I really enjoy her. Pink, Taylor Swift, a lot.
So what have you and the band been doing over quarantine?
We've been busy writing our second album. It's titled The Sarcophagus. Um, and we've gotten quite a few songs done on that over the past few months. We're like 5 or 6 songs into it. So hopefully, once it's all done, we'll get it recorded and it should be out hopefully by next year.
Do you see a progression in your style of music in this second album?
Absolutely. The first album was just whoever had a song that they had an idea for, and it was just, we're like, okay, well, we need an album, so let's just throw it on the album. So the entire first album is just stuff that we just had, that people brought to the table, and we just threw on the album. But the second album, The Sarcophagus, it's about basically the slavery and imprisonment of humanity through their own arrogance and ignorant ways. So the whole tone of the album is going to be a lot darker. I don't know about heavier, just kind of depends on the song, but mainly just really dark, really melancholic.
What song means to the most to you as a band and to yourself as a person?
Like out of any song or just Silence is Madness songs?
We'll do both.
I mean, out of any song, I've always liked Strawberry Fields Forever by the Beatles. I heard that song first when I was like maybe 7 or 8, and it's legitimately been my favorite song ever since, like legitimately. And then out of Silence is Madness songs, our song Welcome Home is always kind of a soft spot just because it's so much different than everything else that we've ever put out, and it's like really sweet, and it's a ballad, so that one always a soft spot.
If you could tour with one band, who would that one band be?
It's a good one. I always like Black Veil Brides. I always thought they were really cool, so probably that one. I feel like we would musically fit in with them pretty well. I have been since I was, maybe 12 or 13. Yeah, they're great.
Have you ever seen Black Veil Brides?
Yeah, it was once, about 2 years ago.
They're good, aren't they?
Yeah, they're great. They get a lot of bad rap, but I feel like if people were to look past like their image, I feel like people would appreciate them a lot more.
What would you say your most underrated song as a band is?
Our most underrated song, probably BOFA, Burn Out Fade Away. That's the acronym we have for it, Burn Out Fade Away. Just because we don't ever play it live, not very often at least, and I feel like it's a pretty, not intricate song, but there's a lot of different parts to it that a lot of people don't really realize what's really going on. It sounds pretty simple, but there's a lot of layers and stuff that go on in the background.
And there'll be a link to that in the description.
Yeah.
Your band has went through many lineup changes in the past few years. Well, why have you went through so many lineup changes?
When we first started, we were just a bunch of kids at School of Rock that just wanted to be in a band. So we were like, hey, are you in a band? Are you in a band? Yeah, we're in a band. Yeah, let's all be in a band. So, and then over the years, a lot of people dropped out because of musical influences, musical directions. Some people got sick and just wanted to drop out and just focus on themselves. So that was mainly it. Just a lot of different directions.
Has there ever been a moment in the band, as the band, that you've all thought, let's pack it in? And if so, what made you continue playing as a band after that moment?
Yeah, there was been a few moments where like we all just go on stage and we're all just in pissy moods because the show, like our set got cut, or something wasn't going right on stage, or somebody was in a pissy mood before we were even at the venue, and then that just kind of bled into everything else. And then like we just went up there and had just like the shittiest time ever, and then we've gotten off stage and we're just like fuck. And then, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's just, we realize that shit happens, so we just kind of just power through it because, because if we can power through it, and we all respect each other and get along, then, the end outcome will, be what we're looking for.
If you could forget about one concert, what concert would you have forgotten about?
Um, there was a band that we played with a few years ago. I can't remember what they were, but they were pretty bad. Like, and they had like a 45-minute set, and you could just tell that they just didn't know what they were doing. And it was pretty rough. I mean, they were all pretty cool dudes, but it was pretty rough. I can't remember what the band was, but it was pretty rough. But I mean, I still respect what they do.
So what would you say your best moment on stage was?
Um, our best moment on stage was probably when we played Wreck the Halls in 2018. We were still looking for a singer at that point, and it was a Christmas show, and we were all still looking for a singer. And so since we had this show, we didn't have a singer. We just invited a bunch of our friends to come sing with us on different songs. We built like a 5 or 6 song set, and then we just made sure that we all knew what we were doing. And then every single singer that went up there just absolutely killed it when we only like rehearsed with them once.
That's
everybody
amazing.
knew what they were doing, and there was a bunch of people there, and just the energy was all really high, and it was a really good show. So yeah, Wreck the Halls 2018 right now is probably the best time.
So what is your opinion on tonewood? Do you have an opinion on tonewood?
Oh, tonewood. I don't really have an opinion. I think that like the amount of wood on a guitar makes a difference. Like when you play like a neck through Les Paul that's just like all wood. Like obviously that one's gonna have a darker sound compared to something that's just glued together and like a 7-piece body or whatever, 5, 6 whatever piece body. I don't know all the details. But I mean, as far as sound, I think that the majority of the sound comes from the player themselves compared to like what the guitar actually is. Like maybe like a guitar might have more resonance than the other, but I mean, when it comes down to sound, I think the player has 99% control of what the guitar sounds like.
If you were to get an endorsement deal from one brand, what brand would you want an endorsement deal from?
Probably Jackson.
Excellent.
Jackson guitar. Yeah, I've been a huge fan of Jackson guitars my entire life. I remember watching Bullet for My Valentine back in the day, and both, I guess not both players, but Matt always had a Jackson, and I was always a huge fan of Jacksons because they were always just like the most metal-looking guitar ever. So I mean, I've always been a huge fan of Jacksons, so probably Jackson guitars.
If you could have ever written one song that you haven't written, what song would you choose?
Maybe Beast and the Harlot. I've always had a love-hate relationship with Beast and the Harlot because I can never seem to play the song 100% correctly no matter how hard I try. Yeah, so probably Beast and the Harlot, just because there's so much going on in that song that if I could say, hey, I wrote this song, then I can have maybe a little bit more confidence in it.
Where is it you fantasize of playing?
Anywhere that I fantasize of playing?
Yep.
Rock 'em Ring, for sure. All the, shows that I've seen on YouTube of Rock 'em Ring, they've all been great. Whether it was like Avenged or Bullet or Exodus, Disturbed, like any show that I've ever seen on YouTube of Rock 'em Ring, they've all been great shows, so definitely Rock 'em Ring.
Okay, I've got one last question for you here today. What's the first song you're going to play when you get back on the stage?
The first song, our first first song is usually our title track, "Silence Is Madness," just because it smacks you in the face right outside
It's
the
very
gate.
heavy.
And it's, just straight, just thrash metal for 3.5 minutes. So that's always our opener, because it's just smacks you right in the face and it just gets right to the point.
Well, do you have anything you'd like to plug while you're here?
We just put out an album 2 months ago called Xero. You can find it on our Facebook page, on our Twitter, on Instagram. We're getting a website up soon, so all of our merch and album, everything will be on the website. So yeah, follow us, Silence Is Madness Band, on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Gmail,
YouTube. Links to everything will be in the description.
Yeah.
Thanks again for coming on to the show. Thanks, man.
As long as I'm alive, good times it may be over, but the memories never die. The moment of your passing, our hearts they broken.